Thank you so much, Pravina, and thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to speak to such an esteemed audience. Thank you so much. My talk is about children or people with neurodevelopmental disorders or disabilities, and autism is one of them. And where I come from is I am a mother of a 26-year-old boy with autism. So it's been my journey and what we have learned as parents and as a family, growing up with my son, and the conditions and the challenges that the person with the disability faces, as well as what we face and what we learn from this kind of condition. So, for the not unversed, I will start with what is autism. I'm sure most of us would have heard the name autism, but we actually do not know what that really means. Autism, the term itself means absorbed in self, means the child or the person is not very aware or responsive to the environment around him or her. By far, autism is the most complicated neurodevelopmental disorder diagnosed in children between the age of 1.5 and above. And why and what causes autism, the research is still going on. That is why it is complicated, because we do not know actually what is the problem and where the problem lies. Physically, our children, most people, they look so beautiful, they are so charming, they are so innocent. So everybody will say, oh God, what's wrong with him? But they do have challenges, mostly in speech and language learning and communication. So speech and language learning and communication are again misunderstood with each other. But speech is what we speak, speaking with our mouth. That is called as speech, I guess we know. And our children may have problem with pronunciation of some of the, intonations or whatever. Then language is by far, it's a very highest function of the human brain to learn a language. I think our children are disabled at that. Disabled in the sense because they do not understand language, because they are self-absorbed, they may not be paying much attention, or they may not be seeming to pay much attention to what's happening around them, or what's being taught to them, or what's being expected of them. So language learning is often delayed, or sometimes it may be missing. Communication is again can be gestural, can be with eyes, can be with body language, and even our children sometimes fail to understand those tiny human body language intonations, and they may not understand that if someone is not liking them and they are showing it through gestures or whatever, so they just ignore them. So I'll go to the next point. Children with autism have impaired speech and communication issues. I just mentioned that. The problem with autism is it is not one single issue. It's like we have this visual impairment and, of course, hearing impairment, and any disability or any disorder. It is a spectrum wherein we can say, okay, the child has about 80% hearing loss, or 60% loss, or something like that. So autism is far beyond that. It's a huge spectrum wherein we have genius people with some heightened levels of language development. They are esteemed scientists, mathematicians, they can be whatever, artists, singers. They are just so different and so intelligent than the so-called normal population, or with the normal IQs. And the other spectrum is, it's really bad. They're severe to moderate autistic children, fail to even go through their day-to-day activities like self-help, and other things. So it is a challenge for them. That's also that moderately and severely affected people have comorbidities, like they may get seizures, they may get, you know, uh, muscular issues, they may have some nutritional deficiencies. So it is such a huge spectrum. It is said that if you meet one autistic person, you meet that one autistic person. You will not get the same, level of autism in another autistic person. They are two different, totally different people, like all of us. So it is very different, difficult to generalize, what autism is about, and that is about autism as a medical condition. For the longest time, autism had been, misunderstood for lack of interest in the child, or bad parenting, or they say, oh, the child is just lazy, he will speak after 3, she will speak after 6. But then there are some very clear symptoms about how to diagnose autism. We have, like, nowadays, thanks to the social media and the internet, there is a lot of awareness that's coming up, and I am sure, this reaches as many people as possible to first identify people with autism, and then we are like, okay, now we know that, okay, what is autism, but how to identify autism is very important. Hello, can you see the screen? Can you?
Yeah, I'm able to hear you. I'm able to hear you.
Yeah, I'm able. Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm able to hear you. Continue, please.
Thank you so much, Pravina. Okay, so my first presentation was about the condition itself. Now let us move on to awareness about autism and how to identify an autistic person and how to help. So awareness about autism, identifying and understanding an autistic person is to, like, when you look at an autistic person, definitely there is a difference in the body language. Like, suppose you meet a person with autism in a mall or in a public place, like in a train or a bus or something like that, you will kind of know that something is different about this person. Mostly the reaction will be of hand flapping, like they flap their hands like this, or they will just close their ears like this. All autistic people, irrespective of the spectrum of that they are in, now we are able to understand that they have a heightened sense of um, all the five senses: sense of smell, taste, hearing, and like touch and everything. That is why they are so, like, hyper reactive to everything. That is one trait, of an autistic person. I'm telling you, even with the most intelligent or the so-called high functioning autistics, noise and too many people, too many vibrations, too many energies around them, they are very sensitive to that. So that is one way of identifying a person with autism. So what is that we have to do when we know that person has autism or a neurodevelopmental disorder? There are different types of neurodevelopmental disorders. Like, there is cerebral palsy, physical disability is something that we can very much, see. But again, autism comes with, I know many people who have autism with visual impairment, autism with a mild mental retardation, and stuff like that. And also, it needs to be understood that autistic people are very, very aware, they know what's happening around them. They are not a wall. They know, they understand somewhere. I don't know how or how to put it, even having so much of experience with my son, that how they come to know about it, but they definitely know that something is being told about them. We speak about them in front of them. That's the first part of insensitivity that happens, and which I learned as a mother very late, and I really regret that. I used to talk about my son in front of him with people. Okay, this child has this and all. The first thing is to treat them like normal people. It's like, okay, people have diabetes, people have hypertension, people have whatever condition, but yeah, this guy has autism. It's as simple as. So that's one part of looking at it. People with autism may have meltdowns, like they may scream, they may throw their hands off and legs and something like that, cry, very loudly. They don't know how to process so much of information, or maybe they do not want to process so much information. So because there is a lack of communication itself, uh, that is why it is very difficult for us to understand what's going on with them. It's mostly trial and error. Okay, so but what we do when we see, because I'm a mother, when I see another autistic person, what I do is I just let him be, go through the meltdown, just watch that he or she doesn't harm himself or others. That's one thing that we can do. And the meltdown, they will calm down maybe in 10 or 15 minutes of time. And then after that, we can either take them home or take them out of the situation. That it is up to us, again, to respond and respect their identity. Autism is not their awareness. They are people at the end of the day, like you and me, or anybody on that matter. Even like we have, mm, every living being on this planet has his or her trait or his or her disability, disorder, condition. They have their own strengths. Autistic people can be great artists. They can be, they are such productive population. When I come to the last point of my second presentation, this is my last this thing. It is up to us, the so-called normal population, to create an inclusive society. What do we mean by inclusion in the first place? Are we ourselves inclusive as a society? Is the first question I asked myself when my son was diagnosed. Are we inclusive of our own maid servants or their children, or just leave alone the disabled population? So the inclusion will come from our hearts. And it starts from us. Okay, we are all people. We are a community. We are citizens and stuff like that. By inclusion, we mean we have special schools. It's been about. My son was diagnosed at the age of 2, and now he's 26. It's been 24 years. I'm yet to come across an inclusive school or a college or an organization. When I mean inclusion, we mean that, okay, there are 5 people with autism studying and 5 regular people, like neurotypical. That's what we call. Is that really happening? Because we see so many parents. I have a daughter who is fine. She is working right now. She is an engineer. But then I have 2 children, one with autism and one with not. But am I, accepting of other children with autism? Will I allow my daughter to be with them? Maybe if my son was normal, maybe I would not do it. But I guess that's where the change starts. That's why awareness and sensitivity is required. That is why I have come before you to request very humbly to just please accept, our children as they are. And when my son I was trying to get him into, so many regular schools. The schools have been very welcoming, but again, the parents of other children, the so-called neurotypical children, they were not very. I wouldn't blame any of them, but the thing is that they were like, okay, if my child is with this child and he behaves in a certain way, and what if my child picks up these kind of behaviors? It's a very normal parent reaction. But what I feel is a little more awareness, a little more sensitization, little more for coming, um, a little more proactive activity on the school's part would take us a very long way. When we say an inclusive society, what I dream of is my child is having friends. My son doesn't have a single friend. Like again, we are not blaming anyone here. It is just normal human behavior, normal human psychology. It is just that I dream of a day wherein my son has a set of five, six friends and they all go out like any regular person. And the other person is very accepting of what my son's condition is. And that's what inclusion means, right? So let's be very inclusive and very humane society. It's beautiful. Life is very short. Life is very sweet. Is what we make of it. And thank you so much, Pravina, for giving me this opportunity and the entire esteemed audience. Thank you so much. I'm so grateful for this opportunity. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Miss Anuradha.
Thank you.
I also felt very emotional. I can understand the pain as a parent, and I really hope that like we can see the inclusive society you spoke. You chose a very sensitive and a beautiful topic, and I personally know Nihal is a beautiful
Yes.
child.
Yeah.
And we have a couple of questions lined up here.
Absolutely.
And you have covered most of the questions, you spoke about the characteristics, you spoke about the awareness, what you are expecting from the society, from the school. But again, there are so many questions that I would like to read them out to you.
Please, I'll be so glad to, help out.
Yeah.
No problem.
So the first
please.
question, we'll take it. How do you go about an initial assessment for an autistic child?
The initial assessment is definitely by the age of 1.5 years, we notice that the child is not responding to his name. The child with who's like the autism kind of develops. It is not like overnight you have this condition. The child slowly develops more and more, isolation from the environment around him or her. So what happens is the first symptom is the child will completely stop responding to the name call. So what we do as parents is first we do a hearing test. So that's what the pediatrician said. Then nowadays, thanks to the awareness that is happening around the world, hearing test is done like before that they are doing that test on autism. It is very good to know that the early years of intervention go a long way in how the child will grow up, after like 10 or 12 years or so. So basically, the first symptom is not responding to the name calls, not playing properly with toys, not learning, not imitating. All children imitate, our children don't, because they're self-absorbed. They're not observing you, they're not looking you in the eye or trying to understand the play part or the social communication part, or even a social smile is lacking in many children. So I think the first symptom would be yes, the response is to the name call is absent. It's literally absent. And then there are other symptoms like not imitating mother, father, or the people who are trying to play with the child, and also playing properly, like with a toy. They mostly tend to break it. That is the initial assessment. Yeah.
So the second question is about speech. Actually, you covered that, but again, what are some of the speech difficulties you encounter in autistic children?
The first thing we notice is that autistic children are very visual learners. I can speak from my own experience is that they are, if you teach them anything through videos and pictures, they learn it like pretty quickly. My son learned to, sing ad jingles before then he could like before he could say Abba. So that makes more sense to him than this regular normal speech like Amma or Appa. So the speech is almost absent. We will have to work very hard with the child. Like we have to sit one-on-one and teach them each and every word, syllable, intonation. So speech and language development is a tough, job for parents and therapists for people with autism. Yes, that's
okay. So coming to the therapy, Anuradha, what are some speech therapy treatments that you use with autistic children?
Most of the speech therapy treatments start with, the only difference is that our children, neurotypical or the regular normal population children, learn by imitation. Okay, so if I'm saying something, making a sound, the child by the like age of 8 months, 10 months, the child is, trying to imitate the mother and all that. But whereas an autistic child will not do that. So we will have to fill in for the imitation part. We'll have to sit. We have to literally sit, make the child sit on the floor with a desk in front of him, because most of the children are, obviously there is, like I said, their comorbidity is that they have, severe, attention deficit. They do not want to concentrate because they
So
do not.
can we use the word restlessness here?
Restless.
Is it a proper word?
No. It is proper attention deficit, Pravina. That comes with it. Restlessness is a part of, having that attention deficit.
Okay.
Restlessness in itself, restlessness is a symptom of the deficit.
Okay.
Because that's what really happens with these children. So speech therapists, what they actually, we, as parents, what we have learned over the years is that we teach them through pictures. Okay, there is a picture of this cat and we say, okay, this is a cat. So again, the challenge with our children is that, okay, they can identify a cat in a picture, but real life, there is a cat comes, they are not able to make a correlation as to whether, okay, this is a cat, so this might be a cat. The generalization is again an issue with them. So we have to hand hold them for everything. So that's the toughest part. That's what people do. The therapists do that. They do a lot of hand holding.
Okay.
Yes.
So
Yes.
what advice can you offer parents who do speech therapy activities at home with their children?
As soon as possible, as early as possible. The moment we notice that, okay, the child is, of course, we all notice, right? That, okay, something is not right. I don't want to use the word right, but yes, the child is acting a little different than how he should be doing. So I think we can start right from there, in a very playful manner, just carry the child. Whatever we do with our normal child, but more focus. Okay, we just say, okay, there is a cow, this and our regular children. My daughter used to learn 10 different words in a single day. But then for Nihal, it would be very difficult. I would focus on just one word. And I will do the same word for the next 8 hours. But then once we kind of break in and the child knows that, okay, this is what is expected of me. Amma is trying to my mother is trying to teach me this. Somewhere that kind of breaking in happens. Again, we don't know why and how, but yes, there is an ice breaking that happens between the people and the child himself. That's when they start learning. Then we know that, okay, they pick up the speed. Then it would be much easier. The first lesson is always tough. Yeah.
So I think the audience again wants to know, are there any specific activities that are particularly helpful for children with autism?
Again, Pravina, that's a very difficult question because each child with autism, like I said earlier, like if you meet one person with autism, you meet one person with autism. There are no two similar autistic people. Like there is hearing impairment, it could be just a percentage of impairment, but there is a very standard treatment or there is a standard protocol what that we can follow with the hearing impairment or for visual impairment. And then we know that if there is a physical visible disability, then what do we do with them? We do exercise, we do physiotherapy. There are so many things, but autism is very difficult. So I do not want to generalize this because my son is very different from my friend's son. So let us but mostly visual teaching helps them the most. Videos, pictures, and actually taking them to the situation, to actually taking them to the parks, to the cinemas, the experience matters to them. So we expose the people with autism to as many situations as possible, not to isolate them. I come again. No, we cannot isolate them. We should not be isolating them, like from family functions or birthdays or weddings or anything like that. I really urge and I request all people to encourage. If you know somebody, that okay, please bring him to my place. It's okay, like that. So we would love that kind of invitation. So we expose them to as many situations as possible. It is easy for them to understand how the society functions. So I don't think there is one single treatment plan for the spectrum. That would be my answer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you close your PPT and just be on camera? I wanted
Yes.
this awareness slide to be focused there
Yeah.
for a while. Now, since we
Yeah.
are done with the PPT, just like close the PPT and we'll take the
I'll
next
do.
question. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So the question here is: can autistic children? You have expressed your anguish already about the inclusive
Yes.
society. The question is related
Yes.
to that. Can autistic children be integrated in public schools?
It is tough. It is see autism in itself. My son, if we think about it, he will need 5 different therapists, to teach him 5 different things. Even to normal, like play with a ball, he will need a teacher to teach him that. So if we have that level of demand, so we can understand the enormity of the resources that we require. So the schools may lack the resources. It is not easy for teachers to just sit and concentrate on one single child. So what we really need to do is we mainstreaming is a totally ball game altogether. But what we can do as parents and teachers and the schools coming together and maybe have frequent meetings and find out how the existing resources can be utilized to not mainstream but definitely include them in the school, so that regular people, regular children learn about this neurodiverse condition, and the neurodiverse population understands that okay, they have friends and buddies in these people. I think that's what should be done. As a mother is what I feel.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, are there any measures that should be taken into consideration, and are there any reformations one needs to be aware of?
Reformations in the sense, first, yeah, sensitization and awareness of the condition is one part. Then again, what to do, because some people with autism can be unpredictable. They might get aggressive, they might get violent, they might harm themselves, they might harm others. So we have to be a little prepared, extra help or whatever help that is available to kind of.
Okay. So, how are autistic children treated in the special centers, Anuradha? Anuradha, can you hear me? Are you
I
there?
can definitely. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So, how are autistic children treated in the special centers? Is the question.
It is mostly one teacher, one student. This thing, there will be classes going on. So basically, they switch from rooms to rooms. Okay, occupational therapy, one room, speech therapy, one room. It kind of, there is a lot of jugglery that goes on in this thing. And I've seen most of the group therapies are not very effective. But once you like bring a child to a certain stage wherein okay, he's able to accept other people and other children, they have to get used to the surroundings. That's very important for them. So once they're used to the school, the people around them, and then they kind of do all right. But again, inclusion is a question. Yeah.
Okay. So, where do you see the status of autism in India in the future?
Compared to the West, still in the future, yeah, we see that there is some amount of work being done from the government side. All these years, till 2016, until the new, PWD Act, like People with Disabilities Act, was renewed. Till then, autism was, categorized under, mental retardation or something like that. Now, autism is a separate category in itself. Like when we Google, PWD Act 2016, then we get like there are 21 different kind of disabilities that people have. So from the government side, there is some work happening, but as a society, I think we can do more. Yeah, like inclusion is what I would definitely
You would
feel
stress
would
on.
help our children. Yes, yes.
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 So what can school heads do regarding this problem? Is there any training they can organize for their teachers?
Absolutely. There are a lot of training programs, KPMRC, Spastic Society. We can actually come to your places, like if you are ready to like give us like half an hour, 1 hour, definitely our specialists will come, and there are doctors who are working tirelessly towards this. And very recently I have met with retired commissioner for disability. We are very happy to come and do these talks and sensitize and make you aware, and then maybe we can work together. It's not a one day thing. It will go like, it will take some work, many meetings, so much of brainstorming. Even on the school's part, it is not easy for them because they already have a setup, and such an inclusion will require a lot of adjustment from the staff side, from the school side, the management side, and of course with the consent of the parents who are already whose children are already in the school. So it will have to be multiple meetings, multiple brainstorming. And I think if one school or one organization is able to achieve this, even to some extent, say 50% or 30% or whatever, we can show this as a model to other schools or organizations to come forward for inclusion. It is not a one day thing, is what I feel. It's multiple meetings and a lot of heart,
Right.
a lot of heart. Yes.
So do you think there may be a discrepancy between the awareness of private schools and state schools regarding this issue?
I guess there is. State schools are more accepting, most probably because state schools children come from mostly economically weaker sections of the society. So even when Nihal was going to a school nearby, and he was about 12 years old, and for five children will just take carry him on their shoulders and take him out to play, whether he was interested or not. So he was kind of being included his without awareness. And I guess because they come from um, uh, it is very sad, but it is still a reality to say that the children have seen a lot of life than what we have seen. That's because they are economically weaker, because there is a problem with parents or people who are in that situation. That I think it is state schools are more accepting, is what I have experienced. I'm not saying this because private schools, I guess they can be definitely sensitized. Absolutely, I guess every school was very open, but again they expressed their lack of awareness, and basically they want to know what is expected of them to go through this inclusion. And I think we can help them, no problem.
Okay.
Yes. Yes,
So
yes.
you have covered almost everything, all questions. So
Thank
last
you
thing
so much.
about your challenges. What
Yes.
has been some of the challenges you have faced in creating awareness about this topic?
First thing about the awareness is that our children look pretty all right. That itself is a big challenge because their hearing is all right, their sense of smell is all right, their vision is all right, they look quite fine. So people ask, what is wrong with him? That was my first challenge, to make them understand that okay, it's a software problem. That what we say, in a computer language. Like if there is a problem in hardware, you kind of know, okay, memory is broken down, or this is down, the keyboard is broken. But then software, something is wrong, so it will show only on the screen. So I think it's mostly the wiring inside the brain that has some problem. That of late we have a lot of scans which are showing those things. So my challenge was first to initially make people understand that this is what that. And number two, what with behaviors? Like when they behave in a particular way, which is not seen, or maybe not, regularly seen in people. So people come and ask, oh, why is he doing like that? Why is he crying? Why are you not controlling him? So one doctor told me on my face, you have failed as a parent. We have been through it all. So, but then later we understood that it's very easy for us to judge, but then it is very difficult for us to go down at the child's level and understand, okay, what he might be going through. So again, the third challenge was to deal him through his adolescence, because they're very innocent. They may not know what is socially acceptable um, or not, because that's when the sexual awareness starts with girls as well as boys. So that's something that has been very challenging. and again, like late, teens, like 18 plus, there is a lot of aggression, a lot of hormonal changes that go on. So every stage is, carrying some kind of challenge or the other. So basically, um, it is in our hands to, maybe not exactly, but not fully, but a little bit put ourselves in those shoes and try to understand. Okay, this is what he is feeling right now, so we do this for him. That's what it is.
Such an emotionally moving topic, Anuradha. Thank you for
Oh,
sharing
God.
your thoughts, and we wish you all the strength to spread the awareness and to have an inclusive society. School Journal of Education and schoolreformer.com. Thank you for the talk and for patiently answering all the questions. We also thank the audience for participating in the event. And I wish Nihal, like one day, will talk to us on our platform.
Oh, absolutely. That's a blessing. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And please include me in all your activities so that I can create more awareness.
Definitely.
I request that.
You got a comment too. It's not a question. It says, great work, madam. It is people like you working on difficult issues like this make this feel world worth living in.
Oh, thank you so much for your kindness. Thank you so much. So sweet.
Thank you, Miss Anuradha. Like we
thank you, Pravina.
Now. Okay.
Yeah.
It was great to have you.
It was great to speak to you all. Thank you so much.
Okay.
So much.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks, Praveen.